Yo guys, today I'm bringing you the first part of my high level money making guide, and in this guide there are 3 bosses that you can kill as a high level player to make a lot of money in RS. So let's get into it. The first boss that I'm going to recommend to kill are the twin Furies. Now these will make you around 3 to 4 mil an hour, and you will also be getting a total of 300k to 400k XP an hour. There are no requirements to enter these apart from the 40 Zamorak kill count in the Godless Dungeon 2, and they have a total of 200,000 life points combined. Now in order to do these effectively, you're going to either need a Noxious Scythe or a Dragon Rider Lance. And the reason for this is because with these weapons you'll be able to hit both of the twins at the same time at some stages of the fight, so this will mean that you'll basically be able to be doing a lot more damage and you'll be able to heal a lot more with your soul split, which is why you also need 92 prayer. So with the Scythe or Dragon Rider Lance you'll basically be able to be here until you run out of super restore potions, and my recommendations for killing them are 95 plus stats, 95 plus prayer for turmoil and soul split, and at least Bando's gear or higher. These are going to be my recommendations for killing any boss, pretty much because you'll be able to kill the boss a lot quicker with these recommendations, and the quicker you kill them the more money you'll be making per hour. So moving on to the gear and inventory that I personally use and recommend. I use the Tova Full Helm, Amulet of Souls, Noxious Scythe, a Death Touch Bracelet, a Ring of Death, a Vampirism Aura is highly recommended to use, especially if you can extend it, but you can also use a Penance Aura or Supreme Brawler Aura to increase your accuracy. I personally don't use a Scrimshaw here because I find I heal enough without it, but if you try this and have trouble healing, feel free to include a Scrimshaw or Vampirism into your setup. I also use Steadfast Boots, a Bando's Chest and Tassets, and a Skill Cape which you can upgrade for a Fat Kiln Cape. My inventory is quite simple. I take a couple of Supreme Overload Potions, 14 Super Restores, and 4 Rocktail, as well as a Bando's War Shield, an extra Steel Titan pouch, and some scrolls for the Titan special attack. Usually you shouldn't need food when doing this method, but I usually take some just in case. And if you're just learning this method, I actually recommend to take more than what I'm showing you, at least until you get used to fighting them, and I'll show you what you need a shield for soon. You can take any shield, I just use a Bando's War Shield, and a Steel Titan is preferred over a Yak since it takes a minute to bank if you really need to, and the Steel Titan just provides extra damage so you'll be able to kill it faster. The twins are located in the Godless Dungeon 2, which is just southwest of Nada. And once you get into the dungeon, their encampment will be on the northwestern part of the dungeon, so get your 40 kill count by killing any of these Zamorak followers, which can also be found around the northwestern area, and head into the arena once you have it. So time to get into the actual fight, and firstly I'm going to be showing you the special attacks that they have, and then I'm going to explain how to use your abilities properly. Drink your overload if you have one, pray soul split on Turmoil, and begin attacking Nymora, which is the red one. Straight away Avaris will begin to charge at you, and all you have to do is move out of the way of this charge or you'll be hit for around 2000 damage. Avaris will do this 4 times, 1 from each wall, and then she will join in fighting you again. After a few attacks, Nymora will fly down onto an area and it will start raining down on the arena and you will not be able to attack her. What you want to do is stand on the squares around her or under her and begin attacking Avaris. After a short while, Nymora will come down and begin attacking you again. After a few more attacks, they will both go to the middle and cover the outer rim of the area with fire. This part is pretty obvious, just don't stand in the fire and you should be fine. Once the bar above their heads reaches the end, an explosion will occur and typically hit you for up to 5000 damage, but I'm going to show you how to avoid this soon. So as for when to use your abilities, at the beginning of the fight you basically want to spam your basic abilities to reach above 50% adrenaline before Avaris stops charging around the area. Once Avaris begins attacking you, use Hurricane, and once you have enough adrenaline for Quake, use that as well. These are both AoE abilities, so this is a perfect time to use them as you're able to attack both of them. Also, you want to make sure you're using your Steel Titan special move whenever you can just to get more DPS on them. Once the next phase starts, run under Nymora like I said and use Assault on Avaris. Once Assault finishes, you want to spam your basic abilities once again until you reach 100% adrenaline. Make sure you're in the center of the arena before the final phase starts, and hopefully by this time you have 100% adrenaline, and once it starts use Hurricane and Quake once again. Then spam your abilities up to 100% adrenaline and use Meteor Strike. After that the bar above the head should be almost complete, so equip your shield and use Resonance just before it reaches the end. And then basically that's it. After the third special ability the twins will repeat their abilities until you kill them. It might sound like a lot of information to take in at first, but once you start doing it you should get used to it pretty quickly. Now moving on to my next boss, which is killing the Queen Black Dragon. Now this is my favourite boss to kill in Runescape, so I have a lot of experience killing her, and you can make between 4 to 6 mil an hour here, and you will also be getting a total of around 120 to 160k XP an hour. You only need 60 summoning to enter the lair, and she has 4 phases of 36,000 life points each. So here are my recommendations, and once again it's 95 plus combat stats, 95 plus prayer, 96 plus herblore, and at least tier 80 plus armor and weapons. Actually you can probably get away with using Armadyl armor here, so you can use that if you have that, but I wouldn't recommend having anything less than a tier 80 ranged weapon. Luckily for you there are tier 80 ranged weapons that you can get pretty much for free, and those are the Royal Crossbow and Dual Chaotic Crossbows from Dungeoneering. So here is the gear and inventory I use. I usually take full Serenic, but you can trade this out for Pernix or Armadil as I mentioned earlier. The only reason I use Serenic is because I bought it before the God Wars Dungeon 2 got released, and I thought it would be useful there, but it's not, so I just thought I'd use it for other things. But anyway, I also take Glaven Boots and either a Vampirism, Penance or Supreme Sharpshooter Aura, a Ring of Death, a Death Touch Bracelet, Dragonbane Bolts and an Amulet of Souls. The Dragonbane Bolts are highly recommended as this will greatly improve your damage and accuracy against the QBD and will make killing her a lot faster. I will explain how to get these after this slide. As for my inventory, I take a couple of Overload salves, which are Overloads and Super Anti-Fires mixed together. You need 85 herb lore for these Super Anti-Fires, and I would highly recommend getting them as normal anti-fires will simply not protect you enough. I also take 9 Super Restore flasks and the rest of my inventory and yak full of Rocktail or Sharks. Also, this is what my ability bar looks like. It's pretty standard, but you may have to change a few spells around if you're using a one-handed weapon. So these are the requirements to make the Dragonbane Bolts. You need to have completed the Ritual of the Madra and Lunar Diplomacy quests, and you also need 77 Mining, 82 Smithing, 87 Magic and 80 Fletching. Smithing, Magic and Fletching can be boosted or assisted, so if you don't have the levels you can boost up using Stews or Extremes, or you can just ask someone for assistance. So to get these, just head to the Glacial Cave, and you can get here by using the fairy ring DKQ. Once you get here, just head north past the energy barrier and you'll see a load of Bane ore rocks. Just mine these rocks and bear in mind you'll get 50 bolts per ore that you mine. And I recommend to mine at least a whole inventory so you won't have to do this again for a while. Once you get the ore, you'll need a dragon related item in your inventory. For this example I use Dragon Bones. You also need Earth and Astral runes and you need to be on the Lunar spellbook. If you don't remember how to do this, go to the Lunar Isle and pray at the Astral altar, which is southeast of the city. So basically what you want to do is you want to use the Bane Ore Lunar spell on the dragon item that you chose, and it will allow you to make the Dragonbane Ore. Do this and smith your ore into bars at a furnace. Once you have your bars, head to the fairy ring code by scrolling to the very bottom and clicking on Ketsi. If Ketsi isn't at the bottom for you, you'll have to use the code DIR and then AKS in order to get here. So just follow the path that I'm showing you to get to the anvil. You can fall off these just like I did, but it should be no problem getting to the anvil and then just make your unfinished bolts here. And finally, all you have to do is add some feathers to your unfinished bolts and you will have Dragonbane bolts. Now, time to actually get into killing the QBD. Make sure you drink your Super Anti-Fire and other potions, pray Soul Split and Anguish if you have those, and begin attacking the QBD once you are able to, which should be around 17 to 18 seconds in. The phases are pretty similar, all you have to do is DPS QBD down, so just use your basic abilities and thresholds when you can until a bar goes fully down. When it does, the Dragonkin artifact will light up, just click it and carry on attacking her. As you can see, she just spawned this Tortured Soul next to me. This will hit for around an initial 1200 damage and then will continue to attack me. Just ignore these as they will go away eventually. So the next artifact to light up will be the one in the southwest of the arena. Make sure you click it and get out of the water immediately. If you stay in the water for too long, you will get hit for up to 1500 damage. Once you are out of the water, carry on attacking QBD. I usually like to run to the east side of the platform like this before I carry on attacking her, because this is where the next artifact will light up. Also, as you might have been able to tell, the QBD has spawned a Grotworm. Once she hits 0 HP and her artifact lights up, she will spawn Grotworms until you click on the artifact and move on to her next phase. Once again, just ignore them. And also the firewalls that you can see, just tank them. It's too much effort to have to run through all the holes in the walls, and they only deal 750 damage every time, so you should be able to heal up pretty easily using your Soul Spit and food. So this is a final phase, and on a final phase you can spawn up to 4 Tortured Souls at once, which will all hit you for around 1200 damage each. So make sure to try and stay above 5000 health, or you can try and run away from a cloud that they spawn to try and avoid the damage. But I usually just tank them because I know I can heal up pretty easily, but if you feel like it's too risky for you to take the damage, just try and run away from the cloud like I mentioned. Also, she can spawn this Tortured Soul that tells you to kill it before the spell is complete. If she does spawn this, kill it straight away and you won't have a problem. If you take too long to kill it, you won't be able to do anything for a few seconds and QBD will still be able to attack you. So it's very easy to die to this if you let this Tortured Soul live. So once she's down to 0 life points on the final phase, hit the final artifact and head down into the chamber for your reward. Usually if there are Rocktail in here, I take them into my inventory and bank the rest of the items, just so I can use them on my trip if I need any more. Lastly, of course we have to have Araxxor, and this is probably the best stable money making in the game right now, with the potential of getting 5 to 10 mil an hour depending on how good you are at killing it. You will also be getting 100k to 180k XP an hour here. There are no requirements to enter the lair, and she has 4 phases of 100,000 life points each. So once again, these recommendations are pretty much necessary if you want to kill Araxxor consistently, and they are 95 plus combat stats, 95 plus prayer, 96 plus herb lore, and 80 plus tier armor and weapons. Here is the gear and inventory that I take. I pretty much take the same gear that I do to QBD, except instead of Dragonbane bolts I take Ascension bolts. And this is also a standard inventory that could suit you as well, and it contains 1 overload salve, 12 Saradomin brew flasks, 3 super restore flasks, a super anti-poison, a Bando's war shield, and the rest filled with Rocktail. Also in my yak I take 4 Saradomin brew flasks and 26 Rocktail. Now I'm not going to explain how to actually kill it because I don't think I have enough experience in killing Araxxor to teach you guys. I think I've died to Araxxor more than I've actually killed it, and I've killed it quite a few times now, so imagine how many times I've died. So I'm going to add an annotation on the screen that will lead to Monkelzonki's guide on Araxxor, and I will also leave a link to it in the description, so check that out if you want to learn it. Also, if you're learning Araxxor, expect to die a lot whilst learning it. It's not an easy boss to learn, but once you do, it'll rake in a lot of money for you. But anyways, that's the end of the video. Part 2 will be out pretty soon, so when it is, I'll add a link to that in the description. I hope this guide helped you, thanks for watching, subscribe if you're new, and peace!